We're live.
All right, thank you, Mr. Antonio. Niti Yaglidu, Hunter Brown, Shaizi Kalan, Danae Aina, Eshlan Shida, Katnu, Shugu, Shakoya, Kalan Don. How is it with you? My name's Hunter Brown. I'm Danae Aina, an enrolled member of the Knighty tribe and your chair for the evening. The time now is 7:07 p.m. and a quorum is present, so I'm hereby calling this membership meeting of the 46th Legislative District Democrats to order. Please be aware that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded on our YouTube channel. If you do not wish to appear on the live stream or recording, I suggest that you keep your camera off. That being said, thank you for joining us tonight. Please note that all attendees are muted during the meeting, but individuals will be taken off mute when they're recognized to speak. So please raise your hand to be recognized. If you have an interrupting motion, such as a point of order or a request for information, please use the speed up button on your Zoom reactions. It's the blue circle with the two white greater than symbols in it. But once you come off mute, please state your motion immediately. And you don't need to go into why you're making the motion. That will come afterwards during argument. Likewise, you'll find my name in the participants list, but please don't send me chat messages during the meeting. I won't be able to read the chat and run the meeting at the same time. So if you do have questions or concerns during the meeting and raising your hand or using the greater than symbol is not appropriate, please reach out to our chat support volunteers, which our effective meetings chair, Nathan Antonio, will tell you more about shortly. That being said, to get us started, I'd like to welcome eBoard member Brandon Monson, who's going to offer our land acknowledgement. Brandon.
Thanks. Wouldn't let me unmute. Appreciate that. It's good to be with you all and see so many amazing faces. All right, land acknowledgement. On behalf of the 46th District Democrats, I acknowledge the land on which we stand today as the traditional home of the Coast Salish and Duwamish tribes, and the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot nations. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered, and taken care of these lands. We recognize their invaluable contributions to our state, history, economy, and culture. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and trespasses and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
All right, thank you so much, Brandon. For those of you that are joining us tonight, I'd like to let you know that the 46th District Democrats is a contributor to Real Rent Duwamish, which calls on people who live and work in Seattle to make rent payments to the Duwamish tribe. Though the city named for Duwamish leader Chief Seattle still thrives, the tribe has yet to be justly compensated for their land, resources, and livelihood. But you can do something today to stand in solidarity with the first peoples of this land by paying real rent to the Duwamish tribe. All funds go directly to Duwamish Tribal Services to support the revival of the Duwamish culture and the vitality of the tribe. You can join the grassroots movement today at www.realrentduwamish.org. All right, so we've reached the consent agenda portion of our meeting. Can I please get the agenda shared on the screen and a link put in the chat? As you can see, we've got a lot of candidates. I'm pretty excited for this, but a couple of things to note. And for those of you that are new, on the consent agenda, we have today's agenda. We have approval of the March 17th, 2026 regular membership meeting minutes and PCO appointments, Aaron Hoffman John and Sierra Kaplan Nelson. If we pass the consent agenda, all of these items are approved in one vote. That being said, any member is able to pull any item from the consent agenda at any time. If you wish to pull something from the consent agenda, all you need to do is raise your hand, let us know what you wish to have pulled, and that item will simply will be placed down further on the agenda for consideration later on. Are there any objections to passing the consent agenda, which includes today's agenda, the March meeting minutes, and those two PCO appointments? Are there any objections? Are there any objections? All right, having called 3 times and heard none, we pass our consent agenda. Congratulations to Aaron Hoffman John and Sierra Kaplan Nelson. If you would like to briefly introduce yourself, I would welcome you to do so at this time. I'm not seeing Aaron or Sierra with us this evening. All right. Thank you. So up next, we have a brief review of our Zoom meeting practices. Nathan Antonio.
Just give me one moment to get situated. Okay. All right. So as Hunter mentioned earlier, if you need support at any point during this meeting, he cannot help you. And the other volunteers who you are able to chat also cannot help you. So you need to start by messaging me. You can find me by opening up the chat window, and you can like search my name, or you can open up the participants window and find me there. If you just search the word support or Nathan Antonio, any combination of that, you'll find me. Okay, this is a reminder that we have community agreements integrated into the standing rules of this organization. This is essentially a code of conduct, and so we expect each other to behave accordingly during meetings. So please treat each other with dignity and respect. Remember that everyone here is a volunteer. Step up and step back, which means that if you find yourself taking up a lot of time with discussion, with motions in the meeting, you should consider doing less of that, because if a few people dominate the conduct of a meeting, it tends to suppress other people's desire to participate themselves, and we would like everyone to feel comfortable to participate. Please be understanding of technical issues, bad audio, stuff going on in the background. Everybody's got a different situation going on, and we should be understanding of one another. Remember that together we share responsibility for staying on time at this meeting. That means that everything you do, especially in terms of motions, etc., just adds time to the meeting. So please be mindful of that. Respect meeting rules, wait to be recognized, and stay on topic when you are recognized and allowed to unmute. And if you don't know something, please ask, and please start by asking me. And to the 5 people who have sent me chats since I started talking, please just know it's going to take me some time to get to you, and I won't be able to respond to you until after I'm done talking here. So please be patient with me. Okay. Another reminder that these meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order newly revised, in addition to our own standing rules. So these rules, Roberts, can be kind of arcane and feel a little stilted, but they do help make sure that meetings are being conducted in an orderly and fair manner. You don't need to be an expert in Roberts in order to participate. The most important thing to remember is to raise your hand if you wish to be recognized to speak or with any motions. I will very briefly show everyone how to do that in a moment. Once you are recognized, you will be prompted to unmute yourself. So you have to look out for a little pop-up, a little prompt that asks you to unmute. Otherwise, you will just stay muted. And as Hunter mentioned, if you believe at any point you have an interrupting motion, you should use the blue circle with forward arrows reaction to indicate that, so that we know to recognize you ahead of anyone else who may have their hand up to speak. Okay, so speaking of which, just in case folks don't know this already, in order to be recognized to speak, you must first raise your hand in Zoom. In order to do that, you're going to go to the bottom of your Zoom window and look for that black bar with all the white icons in it. If you don't see it right away, just hover your cursor down there and it should pop up. And then you're going to look for an icon that says raise hand, and it just looks like a hand up. And if you click on that, it'll raise your hand. If you click on it again, it'll lower your hand. And if you don't see that at all, you want to look for a button that says react instead. It looks like a heart. and then inside of the React menu, you should see the raise hand option. But most of you should see raise hand as a first order option there. If you're on the phone participating, you'll find the raise hand button again by looking at the buttons at the bottom of the Zoom app. And there you're going to look for the reaction button. And then within there, you will see a raise hand option. Also, well, actually, yeah, let me go back really quickly. Also inside that reaction menu is where you're going to find that blue circle that Hunter was referring to that we ask you to use for interrupting motions. That's also where you're going to find the green check and the red X that we will use for certain types of votes. So look out for that. All right, another thing you're going to want to do is have the chat open throughout the meeting. We share information out through the chat that you may want, so like links to websites or other information that's discussed over the course of the meeting. In order to open the chat, very similarly, you want to look at the bottom of the window, and you should see a chat button in there. It looks like a little speech bubble. If you don't see it immediately, click on the More button, and then that'll open a submenu where you'll see a bunch more buttons, and one of those should be the chat button. Again, you'll want to leave that open throughout the meeting. You never know when something important is going to be put in the chat. All right, and finally, this is just a reminder, particularly for anyone who has an RN next to their name, to renew your membership for 2026. If you were a member in 2025, your voting rights will kick in 24 hours after paying your membership renewal. If you were not a member in 2025, there's a delay of 21 days. And so for our endorsement meeting in particular, that's kind of important. So that is scheduled for May 18th, which means that the last day for anyone who was not a member in 2025 to become a member and be eligible to vote is the 27th of April. And then just to note, anyone who is an elected or appointed PCO is eligible to vote throughout 2026. You need not take any additional action. That's my spiel.
All right. Thank you so much, Nathan. Appreciate it. All right. Before we begin this evening, I want to briefly acknowledge the state of our union. What we are seeing should no longer be the norm. And I say that because while many people believe our nation has worked to spread democracy and freedom, not only here, but abroad, and that our nation is civilized, that's never been the case. What we're seeing now, attacks on trans rights, illegal detentions and deportations, kidnapping of foreign leaders, working with and praising dictators and war criminals, threats of war crimes, and illegal wars are a part of our nation's history and have always occurred. After the genocide and oppression of First Nations here in the U.S., our nation started claiming territories like the Philippines and still claim Puerto Rico, Guam, Samoa, and others. We have military bases all over the world, not to protect democracy, but to protect capital. And here we are, 72 years after Kermit Roosevelt led a CIA-backed coup to overthrow the democratically elected leader of Iran. And our nation has continued to further escalate violence there and throughout the Middle East this entire time. That being said, we're all here because we see a better way. We see a path towards becoming what we want, a nation that spreads democracy not with violence, but through peace and sharing of resources instead of consuming them. And that's why tonight matters, why our elections matter, and why democracy matters. So we can decide who is the best fit, not to lead us, but to represent us and our values. And that's why we're here tonight. While the world is burning around us, we are trying to put out the flames in one small section at a time. And tonight, we're honored to welcome candidates to join us at our meeting, to introduce themselves and tell us about their campaigns. And just really briefly, I want to point out that under our standing endorsement rules, candidates are invited to join us and speak to 2 minutes at any meeting before our endorsement meeting. And so tonight, this would be the last meeting in which that can take place. I'm very excited that we have so many candidates here tonight to join us that we'll be able to hear from. I think we're at we're well over a dozen, maybe nearing on 24 candidates for local, county, and state offices. I think it's really amazing, and I thank you for making time for us tonight. I know that campaign schedules are brutal, and so your presence here tonight really means a lot and is of huge value to us and our greater community. So I welcome you here tonight and thank you for coming to tell us about you and your campaign. And I also want to ask all of our members that if you experience any sort of difficulty hearing one of the candidates speak, please raise your hand, let me know. You might not be alone. It could be an issue on your end. It could be an issue on the candidate that's speaking tonight's end. And we want to make sure that we figure that out right away, because I don't want a candidate who is having issues connecting with Zoom to not be heard tonight. So if you experience something like that, raise your hand. We'll figure out if it is potentially a you problem or the candidate's connection issue problem, and we'll allow the candidate to start over and speak again. That also being said, I know the candidates are jumping in and out tonight, so I am going to ask everybody's grace, wherein if we have a candidate that joins us late, as soon as they have the opportunity to join us, that we will allow them to speak once we've concluded business on the table at that time. So just want to let people know that if something happens, you're going to get your opportunity. All right, so that being said, we're going to go ahead and hear from our candidates. We'll start with the House of Representatives Position 1 race, for which we have incumbent Jerry Poulett, who's seeking re-election. Thank you, Jerry, for joining us tonight. Please go ahead and unmute. You have 2 minutes to address our membership. And let me, just before you begin, Representative Poulett, one question. Do we have a timer working tonight, Mr. Antonio?
Yes,
Okay. And is it you who's operating that?
I am.
Okay, so all candidates, please keep on the lookout for Mr. Antonio's timer. That will tell you when you're running out of time. We have a lot of candidates tonight, so we're going to be really prompt on the mute tonight. So, one final thing. You are welcome to share with our chat volunteer a link to your website or contact information, whatever you want to share. We can send that out to our membership in the chat. So please, feel free to chat that to our support, and they will chat it to everybody. All right, now we're back to you, Jerry. Thank you for allowing that pause. Sorry, sir.
Welcome. Or tell me when to start here.
All right, let's let Nathan get the timer up.
It'll start when Jerry starts.
Yeah. There we go. Welcome. This year, I passed the first comprehensive legislation to improve our children's reading scores. 40% of our children aren't reading at grade level. I've always stood up to fund public education, our paramount duty. I led the effort to ensure that the millionaire's tax increases funding for public education, so Seattle and other districts won't face more layoffs and increasing class sizes. I've always stood up to make our tax system more fair. That included chopping a huge corporate tax giveaway so we can fund free school meals in the millionaire's tax. I hope you'll join in continuing to have the 46th represented by one of the leading champions for public education and access to higher ed, the leading voice for open government. Let's join to enact my legislation for free community college, fighting microplastic pollution, ending massive corporate tax loopholes, passing ethics rules for legislators, and ensure we have affordable housing. Did we spend billions on light rail so only wealthy people could live near light rail? My campaign is off to a great start, with endorsements from scores of community members, education, civil rights, tribal leaders, and our U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal, who said, Jerry has been a champion for the people, fighting tirelessly to reform our broken tax system, push for climate action, and expand access to education. Our constituent and governor, Bob Ferguson, our own 46 legislators, many other progressive legislators like Sean Scott, Nicole Macri, and I've already won the major endorsements From our state's nurses and the voice of Washington's environmental community, Washington Conservation Action, because as Lands Commissioner Updegrove said, Jerry is one of the top environmental champions. JerryPalat.com for more information. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Representative Paulette. Up next, we'll hear from Ron Davis. Ron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Just getting unmuted. All right. I'll go. Hello, friends in the 46. I'm Ron Davis. I'm running for the State House because the path that made my life possible has closed. I'm the product of a teen pregnancy, as many of you know. My family made it because housing was affordable, and my dad could earn enough with overtime. Those were hard years, but we got a toehold in the middle class, and it created a path forward for my sister and I. That path is gone. Now I've spent years fighting to open it back up and wider this time. I want to take that fight to Olympia. Just last year, I co-founded the PAC that helped elect Katie Wilson, personally raising $300,000. I led the press conference outside Amazon's headquarters when Amazon tried to buy the social housing election and kill the millionaire payroll tax. I built a statewide coalition to pass the country's biggest parking reform bill, working with groups from allies on the left to even right-leaning groups that spent big to oppose my election in 2023. We were told the bill had no chance, and we built supermajorities. That's why the leaders of House Our Neighbors, the social housing developer, and our nonprofit Affordable Housing Coalition all endorsed me. So did progressive mayors and city councilors from all around the state, and the Transit Riders Union, the Seattle Subway, College Dems of Washington State, Tech for Housing, Tech for Taxes, and Progressive Victory. I was the first labor-endorsed candidate in this race. I've been endorsed or received a donation from 3 out of the 4 main other LD Democratic leaders in this city. My platform is this: freeze the rents on affordable housing, build 1.25 million homes, scale social housing, and have the state cover the federal funding gap for housing vouchers. Free childcare for working families, double the buses on the road, paint 1,000 miles of bus lanes, and build the damn trains. And finally, fully fund our schools. We'll tax the rich to pay for all of it. You saw me run in 2023 and run way ahead of the conservative backlash. You've seen me pass legislation with allies and adversaries. You've seen me show up in the 46th, as a public school dad, as a coach, as someone who fights for a better world. If you're ready for change, I'm ready to deliver.
All right. Thank you, Ron. Up next, we'll hear from Will Dreher. And apologies, everyone, including Will, if I mispronounce your name, please just let me know. Will, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Dreher was right. Apologies for being in the car. I am joining you from our my daughter's very rainy softball game right now. So I want to introduce myself. I'm a former federal prosecutor, former public school teacher, and former clerk to Justice Elena Kagan on the United States Supreme Court. And for the last several years, I have worked at a firm that represents cities like the city of Seattle, states like the state of Washington, and consumers in suing big corporations for corporate misconduct. So that includes vape companies for addicting kids to their products. It includes oil companies, oil and gas companies for leaving their oil wells uncapped. It includes electrical utilities for negligently sparking wildfires. And importantly, it includes social media and AI companies for addicting our kids to social media apps and for stealing authors' copyrighted works without compensation. Now, one of the things that I did when I was a federal prosecutor was spend 3 years of my time volunteering to prosecute January 6th rioters. I did that as a second job, effectively, on top of my local prosecutions in this district, which meant that I worked primarily nights and weekends to locate and ultimately charge and try those individuals and put them in jail. So one of the primary reasons that I'm running is having seen a lot of that work be undone over the last 15 months under this administration to resist fascism and authoritarianism. And the second primary reason that I'm running is for public governance of artificial intelligence and public governance and regulation of artificial intelligence and social media. You can check out more about my platform at willdreher.com, but I'm also a public schools and public safety champion. Thank you. Look forward to hearing from everybody else.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight, Will, and telling us about your campaign. Up next, let's just see if they're with us yet. Oh, and they are. We'll hear from Representative Farvar, who is seeking re-election. Representative Farvar, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks all. Can you hear me okay? I'm having some tech issues tonight. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear it. Hello, everyone. It's great to be back at the 46. I'm Daria Farvar, your lifelong Lake City resident and proud 46er. I'm also proud to be the only Middle Eastern person in the state legislature and to be anti-war and pro-diplomacy. I think that it's important we have leaders who are not only focusing on the issues that are impacting us directly here at home, but are also looking at how the federal landscape is impacting us here at home as well. And the war on Iran is a critical piece of that. And I, as the first Iranian American in the legislature, understand just how deeply it is impacting us all. In the legislature, I continue to work on matters impacting the intersection of behavioral health, homelessness, and the criminal legal system, continuing to push to make sure that we are investing in diversion and upstream solutions that prevent individuals from going into deep crisis when possible and prevent harm from happening in our communities. I'm continuing to work on that in the Lake City neighborhood in collaboration with our local elected officials at the county and the city level as well. And in addition to continuing that work, I've also been working on some deeply personal issues for our community, very specifically around grocery access. This year, I introduced 3 pieces of legislation. One, legislation that authorizes municipal or nonprofit-owned grocery stores in Washington state. 2, legislation that would incentivize our current system, which is dominated by private businesses, incentivizing them to do the right thing and go into our underserved communities. And lastly, prohibiting grocery covenants that create manufactured food deserts in our community. I'm proud to see that legislation pass, and I know that we have a long list of projects ahead of us to make sure that your food access does not depend on your zip code or where you live. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you, Representative Farvar. Up next, we'll hear from State Senator Javier Valdez. Javier, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hello, good evening, fellow Democrats. It's really good to be here tonight and see all of you. Again, I am Javier Valdez, and I'm your current state senator here in the 46 and running for re-election. It's really been an honor to serve you these past 4 years and asking you to send me back to the Senate so I can continue my work. You know, in my years in the legislature, I've been really proud of the work that I've done on gun safety. First, that effort, banning ghost guns several years ago, my work on banning high capacity magazines. In the Senate, I then started working on banning weapons in public locations. We were able to get that done for transit centers, zoos, and aquariums. And if you send me back to the Senate next year, I will still keep on working to banning weapons in 2 critical areas in our parks and our county fairgrounds. I've also continued my work on working on hate crimes. We all know about the rising crimes of hate crimes in our state. And last year, I championed the effort to establish our first ever hate crime hotline in our state, which is currently undergoing a pilot in 3 counties. But I'm really proud of the work that I did this past session in sponsoring Senate Bill 5855, which bans law enforcement officials, whether state, local, or federal, from wearing masks while they're interacting with the public. Because when public officials should interact with the public, they should never get to hide their identity and bring fear and intimidation to our communities. I don't think I have enough time to go into my work, either as chair of the state government, tribal affairs and elections committee, or my work on the transportation committee, especially my work supporting our Amtrak Cascade program. But I'm happy and proud to have the early support of our Governor Bob Ferguson, the state nurses, Washington Conservation Action, SEIU 775, just today, UFCW 3000, my seatmates in the legislature, Reps Farvar and Paulette, council members Mosqueda, Barone, and Dembowski, and obviously more to come. And thank you for your time and hope again to earn your support for re-election this year.
Thank you, Senator Valdez. Up next, we'll hear from candidate for King County Assessor, Chris Roberts. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening. I'm Chris Roberts. I'm chair of the 32nd Legislative District. I'm a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. For the last 17 years, I've been on the Shoreline City Council, where we've been a leader on adapting progressive policies, building housing, standing up for the most vulnerable, and championing the diversity of our community. I believe we need trusted, proven leaders in all elected offices. Today, I'm running for assessor to prioritize equity, fairness, and transparency. Specifically, we need to maintain the excellence of our department, ensure properties are appraised fairly and uniform across the county, and to prioritize outreach to all communities across the county to help people stay in their homes. I've heard from people who've waited on the phone for hours, people who've waited 12, 18 months to know if their property tax exemption was approved. That's unacceptable in this county, and we must do better. I'm proud to be endorsed for assessor by Executive Zahalai, Councilmember Mosqueda, Rod Dubowski, Councilmember Alexis Mercedes Rink, former assessor Lloyd Hara, and over 100 elected officials across King County. I'm Chris Roberts, and I would appreciate your support in my campaign for assessor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. All right. Up next, we'll hear from King County Prosecutor Lisa Mannion, who's seeking re-election. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, everyone. It is so good to be here with you this evening and back before the 46th LD Democrats. I was so honored to have earned your endorsement in 2022. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk about some of the work I've been up to and my goals for 2026 and beyond. We have reduced gun violence in all parts of King County for 2 years in a row. The end of 2025 showed a dramatic 61% decrease in the number of shots fired in South King County and a 61% decrease in the number of juvenile gun violence victims. While this is encouraging, we still have important work to do. We eliminated our pandemic era backlog, and in fact, we now file our felony and juvenile cases within 30 days of law enforcement referral. It is the first in the history of the office. We right-sized the salary of 33 deputy prosecutors, all women who are being underpaid, and have committed to a 2-year salary survey so that no one else gets left behind. And we successfully protected more than $160 million in grant funds that the Trump administration tried to take away from King County, and instead have invested those dollars in public housing, transportation, and public health in all parts of King County. A couple of my goals for 2026 and beyond: we must effectively and meaningfully address human trafficking, not just on Highway 99, where the exploitation of children and women is so visible, but also the trafficking that happens in illicit massage parlors and hidden brothels with services, not prosecution. I also hope to convince our lawmakers to take a new approach to our Involuntary Treatment Act court law, where we build a therapeutic model where everyone works together to get people in crisis the help they need as quickly as possible and the least restrictive means possible before they become victims or perpetrators of harm. I would be honored to continue to serve as your King County prosecuting attorney and to have the support and endorsement of our 46 LD Democrats. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. All right. I don't see Representative Saldana with us tonight. Is she or her proxy with us? Or I'm sorry, maybe Senator. I apologize. Javier, Daria, or Jerry, you can correct me on which she currently is. All right, because I'm blanking at the moment. Okay, we'll try to see if she joins us a little bit later. I believe the 11th LD is also meeting this evening, and so we're, fighting some candidates potentially. So we'll go to, and really quickly before we go to our next candidate, I want to ask, are there any objections to me adding some more candidates to the agenda who have joined us and messaged us to let us know that they made it tonight? Are there any objections? Are there any objections? All right, hearing none, we're just going to go ahead and add them, and then you'll see their names inserted in the agenda. Should help everybody track things a little bit more. Okay, so next we're going to hear from Jorge Barron, who is seeking re-election for King County Council District 4. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Hunter, and to everybody at the 46. Very grateful for all of the work that you all do. My name is Jorge Baron, and for the past 2 years plus, I've had the privilege of representing District 4 on the King County Council. And I want to remind folks that District 4 is different from District 4 in the city. So for the 46, if you live west of I-5, that's District 4 on the King County Council, generally speaking. I'm here to share with all of you that I'm running for re-election for my county council seat. And I'm running because there's much more work to do on the local issues I've been prioritizing, which are ensuring that our criminal and civil legal systems are operating effectively and fairly so we can enhance community safety, stabilizing and strengthening our homelessness response system so we can reduce the number of people living unhoused in our region, protecting our public health clinics and investing in our county hospital, Harborview Medical Center, so we can preserve access to healthcare, and improving the safety and reliability of our Metro Transit system. But as the only immigrant currently serving on the county council and as the proud parent of a trans daughter, I'm also running because of the moment we're in as a country. I believe it is particularly important for us to have people in state and local governments who will be committed to protecting everyone in our community from the misguided and frequently unlawful actions of the Trump administration. So I'm excited to ask my neighbors in District 4 to give me the opportunity to continue serving them. I'm honored to be endorsed by Governor Bob Ferguson, Representative Pramila Jayapal, Attorney General Nick Brown, Executive Sahalai, MLK Labor, and many more elected leaders and local organizations. We'll post the link to my website on the chat. So thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'll be back in May to consider you endorsing this re-election effort. And again, thank you for everything that you do for our communities and for improving our civic process here at the county. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Jorge. Up next, we'll hear from some of our judicial candidates for Seattle Municipal Court Position 1. We have Catherine Edwards with us here tonight. Welcome, Catherine.
Hi, everyone. It's actually position 2, just so you all know. My name is Catherine Edwards. I am running to be a Seattle Municipal Court judge for position 2. It's an open seat, and I'm currently unopposed. For the past about 16 years, I've been working in our community as a public defender for the King County Department of Public Defense. I've been representing people who've been charged with misdemeanors up to serious felonies. I've also worked with people in the foster care system and those who are being involuntarily committed because of their mental health issues. And then for the past 8 years, I've been the primary supervising attorney of new public defenders in our county. But what this has shown me over the years of working is that most of the people who land in Seattle Municipal Court specifically are there because of so many other systems have failed them, whether that's the foster care system, the mental health system, or the broader weight of trauma, of poverty, of racism. And so what I have seen is that these systems have failed them and that they're landing in Seattle Municipal Court with no meaningful safety nets. So I've decided to run to be a judge because I want our court, Seattle Municipal Court, to be a system that doesn't continue to fail people. I want to be a part of a court that provides programs that actually address the root causes of behaviors, services that redirect people away from the legal system, and a court that's accountable to our community as well by tracking outcomes using real data and being honest about what works and what does not for that court. I believe my experience as a public defender is exactly what equips me to do this work. And I'm proud to be endorsed by Judge Damon Shadid, Pooja Vidadi, the presiding judge, Anita Crawford Willis, and many others who believe in repairing our court. So I thank you for your support.
Thank you, Catherine. Apologies on getting the position wrong there.
No worries.
Thanks for correcting me. And once again, just a reminder for all of our candidates tonight, if you have a website you'd like to direct our members to, please send that chat to, is it support, Nathan?
It would actually be better if folks would send those to Kathy Sakahara.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So yeah, look for Kathy Sakahara, and if you share a link to your website, she will share that with our members tonight. All right, up next for Seattle Municipal Court Position 5, hopefully I got that one right, Lindsay Calkins. Lindsay, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here and to see everyone. My name is Lindsay Calkins, and I'm running for Seattle Municipal Court Judge for an open seat, seat number 5. I began my legal career here in Seattle working as a paralegal at an immigration law firm doing primarily deportation defense work. I was also able to work at a civil rights firm as a paralegal there, helping attorneys represent individuals who had been wrongfully convicted. Those experiences inspired me to go to law school and to devote my legal career to public service. Fast forward to today, and I've lived and practiced law in Seattle for over 15 years, and I'm raising my 3 children here in Capitol Hill. I'm running for judge now because of what I see every day as a parent and as a neighbor. I want my family and all families in our city to feel safe, supported, and part of a community that truly works for everyone. In my legal career, I'm currently focused on criminal appeals and resentencing work. That means I spend most of my time looking closely at cases after the fact, asking whether the process was fair, whether the outcome was just, and what could have been done differently. I've seen how much it matters that judges get it right the first time, and how much trust is built or lost based on whether people feel heard and respected in the courtroom. I care deeply about access to justice. Through my work with the King County Bar Association and the First Responder Will Clinic, in my spare time, I've worked to expand access to legal services and meet people where they are. I'm running because municipal court is often the front door to the justice system. It's where people decide whether the system is fair or not. We need judges who are committed to equity, who understand the real world impact of their decisions, and who are focused on outcomes that actually make our communities stronger. In many cases, that means looking beyond incarceration alone and considering approaches that reduce harm, support stability, and make it less likely that someone returns to the system. Of course, as a judge, the most important thing is to get the law right. But in cases where we do have discretion, it's very important to use evidence-based research. And that's what I would like to do. I would be grateful to have your support. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Up next, we'll hear from candidate for Seattle Municipal Court Position 6, Shantrice Anderson. Shantrice, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening. My name is Shantrice Anderson, and I am running for Seattle Municipal Court Position 6, which is currently an open seat based on Judge Faychess's retirement. I am running to serve because I come from a history of hardworking, community-minded people. Both of my parents are military vets. My grandparents are as well. Not only did they fight for our rights abroad, but they also fought here nationally in the civil rights movement to make sure that we had rights nationally that we did not possess. And it's through all of their hard work and through their dedication that I was the first person in my immediate family to graduate from college, the first person in my family to go to law school and become a lawyer, and now the first person in my family to run for office. Nothing's been handed to me, and I don't take this lightly. I'm running to ensure that the municipal court serves I'm running to make sure that it reflects the diversity of the communities that they serve, and not only diversity in immutable characteristics, but also diversity in thought and diversity in experience. I've been a public defender both in and out of the state of Washington. I was a public defender in the Colorado State Public Defender's Office, as well as an associated counsel for the accused. And I've also been a civil attorney and currently work at Nickel Black, Alton, Brennan Feig. And the through line between these jobs is that I spent a lot of time working with marginalized communities, not only to help them resolve their cases, but to educate them on what their rights are within these systems and to help create transparency and to empower them to understand that due process is on their side. And I hope to be able to bring that to Seattle Municipal Court so that no matter what happens federally, state level, when you come into Seattle Municipal Court, you understand that you will be heard, you will be given due process, you will be respected, and that you're more than just a case number and you're more than a piece of paper. And I take that very seriously. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Shantrice. I have word that Senator Saldana is back with us again. She was in the room earlier but lost connection. So we'll go to Senator Saldana, who's running for King County Council District 2. Thank you for joining us tonight, Senator.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here before you. My name is Rebecca Saldana, and for the last decade, I've had the honor of my life to serve as a state senator for the 37th Legislative District, where I was part of leadership over the years and the chair of the Labor and Commerce Committee. And in that time, we worked to tax the ultra-rich, close loopholes on big banks, make historic investments in housing and childcare, and strengthen our democracy through the Voting Rights Act. At this moment, I'm reflecting on what got me into politics in the first place. And I have to share with you that my dad, when he was just a toddler, his family fled violence in Mexico and crossed the border. They were undocumented farm workers in segregated southern Texas. And they would get rounded up after harvest behind barbed wires and loaded in cattle trucks and sent back to Mexico. It was access to a union job here in the Pacific Northwest that offered him the opportunity to start a family and create a foundation for us all. That history inspired me to become a union organizer and to serve as the executive director of Puget Sound SAGE, where we built grassroots movements to create best starts for kids, advance equitable transit-oriented development, and make environmental justice a priority at every level of government. Now I'm asking for your support in the next step of my journey to come back home and serve at the county council, because I won't rest until we build climate just housing and crisis care centers everywhere, deliver reliable, accessible, and safe transit, and ensure childcare is universal from birth to 12 years old, so that we can stop that pipeline to our prisons and create opportunities for our children to thrive in King County. I would be so proud to earn your endorsement and really grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today.
All right. Thank you, Senator Saldana. Don't forget, candidates who've joined us tonight. Oh, great. I'm seeing some more links getting posted in the chat. So be sure to look in the chat for links to our candidates' websites. If you joined too late, Senator Saldana, please send information to Kathy Sakahara if you would like her to repost that for you, since I know you just joined. All right, up next, we're going to go to King County District Court. Up first, we'll hear from a candidate for position 1, Niyat Rose Atkins. And please correct me if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
No problem. Close. It's Nijat Rose Akins. Thank you so much. And thank you all for the opportunity to record position 1. Every day in our courts, decisions are made that affect people's liberty, safety, and future. I'm running because I've spent my career preparing to make those decisions thoughtfully, fairly, and with the independence the law requires. For more than 16 years, I've served King County as a prosecutor, also known as a substitute judge. As a trial attorney, I handled hundreds of cases and tried dozens of jury trials. I made decisions that impacted public safety, individual liberty, and community trust. Over the past 3 years, I've served as a full-time judge pro tem, presiding over multiple hearings, setting conditions of release, and issuing rulings that carry real and lasting consequences. Those experiences matter, and they matter because when you step on the bench, people are entitled to a judge who is prepared from day one, ready to listen carefully, apply the law fairly, and make sound decisions. A little bit about myself. I immigrated to the United States from Jamaica at 7 years of age. Like so many families like my own, we were navigating a new system, a new culture, and new expectations. I learned early what it means to rely on institutions and how important it is that those institutions treat people with fairness, dignity, and respect. I actually became a U.S. citizen in Seattle during my first year of law school, and that deepened my connection to this community. Throughout my time in the courtroom, I've seen the justice system at its best, and at times where we absolutely need to do better. I have seen how much it matters when judges listen carefully, explain decisions clearly, and treat everyone with respect, regardless of the outcome. This work is difficult, and it's difficult. However, there are hopeful moments when you see people coming into court to explain how they're sober, how they found housing, and how they're employed. Those moments remind me that accountability and compassion are not in conflict. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you so much, Nyat. Really appreciate you taking the time tonight. Up next, we'll hear from candidate for position 5, Kristen Shotwell. Kristen, thank you for joining us tonight.
Mr. Chair, I'm not seeing Kristen Shotwell in the participants list. Am I
All right.
missing something?
Is there a proxy for Kristen? If so, please raise your hand. All right. Perhaps she'll join us later. So up next, we are on to, I believe, State Supreme Court, position 3, Michael Diaz. Michael, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Hunter, and thank you, 46th. I'm honored to be here. I actually lived in the 46th for 15 years until the line got redrawn. Now I'm in the 43rd. My name is Mike Diaz. I'm a judge on the Court of Appeals, and I'm a candidate for the State Supreme Court, position 3. There are 3 things I'd like to tell you about myself right off the bat. First, I'm an immigrant, a Latino immigrant of indigenous descent who grew up in the working class neighborhoods of Seattle. That's number 1. Number 2, I was a federal civil rights lawyer who defended the rights and freedoms of our most vulnerable, including those who had been subject to excessive force. And for that work, President Obama nominated me to be a federal judge in 2016. I got McConnelled, and so I was a casualty of partisan politics. Third, I'm the only candidate in this field who has both been a trial court and an appellate court judge. And for that, I'm supported by 3 governors, Inslee Gregoire Locke, Attorney General Nick Brown, Senators Jamie Peterson and Emily Alvarado, 8 Supreme Court justices, including a majority of the current Supreme Court, nearly my entire bench, and over 100 Superior Court judges. I'm going to break down each of those 3 points with the time I have remaining. So I immigrated from Peru to Seattle. I landed in Ballard, which was quite different back then, working class, and then moved down to White Center, which is still working class, still a landing place for immigrants. Just to take a step back, my dad was raised in the slums of Lima by a single teenage mom. And when he got here, he washed dishes. He was a janitor, cleaning some of the buildings in downtown that I worked in later as a lawyer. He got his AA, and he was a machinist for 25 years. My mom was a seamstress in Belltown when they had such things, and stocked shelves at Safeway. She got her AA and then was a special ed teacher at Seattle Public Schools for 20 years. I can honestly say my family has lived a version of the immigrant's American dream, which is now under threat. The core of that dream for us was to work hard and give back to the community that provided us so many opportunities. And I was honored to serve my country and literally represent the United States in federal court as a civil rights lawyer for the U.S. Attorney's Office there. I founded the Civil Rights Unit, and I gave others the chance to live and be free of discrimination, including by bringing a consent decree against the Seattle Police Department for excessive force. That's why President Obama nominated me to be a federal judge. That didn't go anywhere, and so Governor Inslee appointed me to the King County Superior Court. I'm now in my 9th year of judging.
Who is... Sorry, sir, you're out of time there. Appreciate you taking the time. Please feel free to post a link in or send a link to Kathy Sakahara, who will post a link. All right, up next, we're going to go to candidates for position 4 for the State Supreme Court. Up first, we have Ian Burke. Ian, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Can you hear me now?
It's only slightly better, I think.
Oh no, I haven't encountered this before. I'll try to speak louder. How about now?
Now it's good.
Oh, okay. All right. Good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is Ian Burke, and I'm running for Supreme Court position 4. There will be 5 positions on the ballot this year for Supreme Court, and with the rule of law under attack in our country, it's going to matter who we elect. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Aerospace Machinists Union, by Governor Jay Inslee, by the Insurance Commissioner, Patty Cutterer, by Justice Salman Jia, Justice Mary Yu, Justice Stephen Gonzalez, and right here in the 46th, the Representative Jerry Paulette and Daria Farivar, along with Senator Saldana and the County Executive Girmay Zahalai. I was appointed to the Court of Appeals in 2022 by Governor Inslee, where I've heard hundreds of cases involving workers, families, small businesses, and communities across Washington. I've written over 200 appellate opinions, and I'm endorsed by 30 current and former appellate judges representing all 39 counties in the state of Washington. Before the Court of Appeals, I was a lawyer for 20 years representing individuals and small businesses taking on powerful interests. Earlier, Mr. Drahar described a law firm taking on powerful corporations engaged in corporate misconduct. And I recognize the firm's resume because that's the firm where I spent 17 years. I was a volunteer lawyer working with tenants and consumers who could not afford counsel, and that included many evenings in the Lake City Community Center Library. Our courts must be independent. Judges must decide cases based on law and fact, not politics or pressure. My work representing individuals taking on powerful interests shaped how I see the law. It has to be accessible and it has to work for everything. We are strictly nonpartisan officers in the judiciary, but I want to recognize and respond to the chair's moving opening remarks tonight. When the law is done right, it makes us better people and it makes us better as a people. I'll be honored to earn your support.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Up next, we'll hear from, I believe, candidate for position 4 as well, Sean O'Donnell. Sean, welcome.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Hi from Spokane. I'm over here for a judicial conference. It's really nice to be here. I'm Sean O'Donnell. I'm running for position 4 on the state Supreme Court. I am currently a Superior Court judge here in King County. I've been a public servant for 25 years. I started out as a King County prosecutor. My first case was tragically a homicide involving youth gun violence, and I have never forgotten it. Shortly thereafter, I worked on the Green River Task Force, so prosecuted Gary Ridgway, the Green River killer. And, you know, the telling thing of that case is, of course, when he told us that he killed those girls and young women because he knew that no one would care. That impacted me. I went on to prosecute human trafficking cases and commercial sexual abuse of a minor case. I've worn all the hats as you could as a trial judge, and I've made thousands of decisions. I've been the chief family law judge, the chief criminal judge. I'm currently the lead judge up at Harborview Medical Center. I think the thing I'm most proud about, though, is my work as a Superior Court judge is what I've done with, frankly, getting guns off the streets of King County. Helped create a protection order court where I upheld a Second Amendment challenge to our state statute that requires people who are subject to domestic violence protection orders to give up their guns. I think it's made the community safer. I want to tell you, as you look out for this court in this reset of the Supreme Court, it's really important that we have judges that understand AI. And I'm just going to use this phrase. AI justice is garbage justice. And I am so dialed in to how that's going to impact lawyers in the judiciary. And I want you to know I serve on these committees to dial into this issue, and I think it is super important. Position 4, Supreme Court, thrilled to have your endorsement.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Up next, we'll hear from candidates for position 5, Sharonda D. Amanilo. I'm not going to butcher it again. Please correct me.
It's Amamilo.
Oh, thank you so much. That's a beautiful last name.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Judge Sharonda Amamilo, and I'm running for Washington Supreme Court, position 5. I have spent my life in service to my country, to the law, and to the people of this state. I currently serve as a Superior Court judge in Thurston County, where every day I make decisions that impact liberty, families, public safety, and economic stability. And before taking the bench, I spent over a decade in public defense, standing beside individuals and families navigating some of the most critical moments of their lives. And what I've learned across every role is this: justice depends on process. When the law is applied fairly, consistently, and transparently, people trust the outcome, even when it is difficult. But I've also seen where the system falls short. I've seen how access to justice can depend on resources, how complexity can create barriers, and how inconsistency across courts can undermine confidence. And that is why I am running. Having presided over every type of case that the Supreme Court hears, it is not just about deciding cases once you're at the Supreme Court. It's about shaping the law for every court, every community, and every person in this state. And I've been vetted and deemed exceptionally well qualified by multiple bar associations. And I bring a unique perspective to that responsibility. With over 25 years in military intelligence, trained me to analyze complex information and make disciplined, high-stakes decisions. My work on statewide commissions has also given me insight into how legal rules operate across Washington, namely the Sentencing Guidelines Commission and the DCYF Oversight Board and the Alternatives to Incarceration workforce. And as a judge, I have developed a record of clear, principled decision-making grounded in the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm also a wife, a mother, and a grandmother, and those roles remind me every day that the law is not abstract. It affects real people, real families, and future generations. And I'm running to help ensure that our courts remain fair, independent, and worthy of the public's trust. And I would be honored to earn your endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. Up next, we'll hear from Theo Angelis.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Justice Theo Angelis. I'm your newest Supreme Court Justice, having been appointed by Governor Ferguson and an appointment announced on March 9th. I'm in position 5, and I'm proud to have the endorsement not only of Governor Ferguson, but also Governor Gregoire, 8 of the 9 Supreme Court justices, a large and growing number of appeals court justices, and Superior Court judges, the International Association of Machinists Union, 20 senators, 32 representatives, including Representative Pollitt, the King County Executive, and many, many more. I'm a proud former member of the 46th District Democrats. This is a nonpartisan race, of course, but I moved away from the 46th into the 36th, but I miss it all the time. My personal background is that I'm the son and grandson of immigrants. My mother's parents came from Turkey and were refugees. My father came to this country at the age of 15. I chose a law firm where I could build a serious pro bono practice alongside a regular practice. I litigated civil rights cases, intellectual property cases, and most importantly, I led our appellate practice. I've had hundreds of cases in Washington courts throughout the years, but perhaps the case I'm most proud of is where I took on ICE after they took a U.S. immigrant, a man who was in the military, who became a naturalized citizen, and ICE detained him for 7 months without cause whatsoever. I took the case from the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project. We obtained a judgment and a settlement of $400,000 and an apology from the Director of Homeland Security. And for that work, we also were able to get Homeland Security to change its processes to prevent illegal detentions. I'm running for retention, not only because I believe firmly in the work of our court and the important things that it's doing, but I want to move the law in Washington to a place where the barriers that are stopping access to justice are gone, and we're using technology to make justice a reality for everyone in Washington.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Theo. Appreciate all of the judicial candidates who joined us tonight. Before we move on to Seattle City Council race, are there any other judicial candidates that joined us this evening that have not spoken yet? If so, please raise your hand. Just want to make sure we're giving everybody an opportunity. All right. Any of the county positions? Any candidates for county positions that haven't spoken yet this evening? Or for state house or state senate? I think we got everybody. I just want to double check. All right. Okay. So closing us out this evening for our candidates. We already heard from one candidate for Seattle City Council District 5 at our last meeting. We have 2 more candidates in that race. First up, we'll hear from Silas James. Silas, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Cool. Hello, I'm Silas James. I'm a healthcare educator, I'm an advocate, and I'm a researcher. And I'm disabled. When I was 15, I was assaulted and sustained a traumatic brain injury. As I recovered, I was thrown into a confusing maze of public benefit systems. I had to learn to navigate them just to survive. That experience has shaped my entire life. Over the past 30 years, I've become an expert and helped countless people move through the same systems that are failing District 5 right now: housing, healthcare, and food security. I've seen people give up on benefits they're entitled to because the process was too confusing. I've also seen people wait months for callbacks that never came while they were living in their cars. District 5, our systems are broken, but it doesn't have to be this way. That's why I'm running for City Council. I know where the gaps are, and I know how to mend them. With ICE disappearing people, prices for everything rising, and major employers laying off thousands, we need creative solutions to keep our communities safe. I will improve public safety by working to expand options for appropriate, unarmed response, ensuring that everyone has a safe place to sleep. And as your representative, I will do everything in my power to dismantle the city's surveillance systems that put so many of us in danger. I'm calling to tax billionaire corporations, and I have a plan for how to implement a guaranteed basic income that will make our neighbors more secure and decrease crime while stimulating the local economy. I know that if we fix things for our most vulnerable neighbors, we'll all benefit. And you can see several policies that will do just that at silasforseattle.com. And while you're there, please donate $10 to help me get over the finish line and qualify for democracy vouchers. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Silas. Up next, we'll hear from Julie Kahn, who is also running for Seattle City Council District 5. Julie, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to come before you as an educator, a community leader, and as an immigrant who built a life in D5. My name is Julie Kang, and I'm running for Seattle City Council District 5 because I believe our city works best when the people who make it run have a real voice in shaping it. As a Washington State Democratic Party delegate, I deeply respect the work that you do to uphold democratic values, and I want to earn your endorsement. For over 30 years, I taught K-20, including at UW and Seattle U, teaching teachers to work with multilingual learners and students with disabilities. I'm a proud union member, and I understand firsthand how working protections and fair wages create stabilities for families. In District 5, I serve on the community board, volunteer at the North College Food Bank, and have helped expand language access through the King County elections, and am currently serving as the co-chair of the King County Immigrant and Refugee Commission. I also co-founded and chair a community bank right here in District 5 to support small businesses and immigrant entrepreneurs. My priorities include public safety, affordability, and mixed income housing. As a first-time candidate, I have already earned the endorsements of over 20 elected and community leaders. I believe we can build a city that is both compassionate and effective, a city that invests in housing, behavioral mental health, and community-based safety while also ensuring accountability for outcomes. A city where diversity is not just acknowledged, but valued as our strength. District 5 deserves leadership that is present and follow through. I will continue to show up consistently, transparently, with respect for the people I serve. I respectfully ask you for your endorsement and partnership in building a Seattle that works for everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Julie. And once again, thank you to all of our candidates who took the time to talk with us tonight and tell us about you and your campaign. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to double check. I had some emails back and forth with some folks, but wasn't able to finalize or connect. There is also a library levy. Is there anybody with us this evening that can speak towards the library levy? Just wanted to ask that question, make sure people are aware. Even if there's not, we'll still have the opportunity to endorse it at our endorsement meeting. So please, everyone here tonight, read up on the library levy. All right. Oh, Nilu Jenks. Nilu, you were someone that contacted me and said you could speak to it. Let's get you.
Hi, sorry. I was not planning on speaking tonight, but I did reach out about the library levy. I'm on the advocacy committee. I think, the library levy has been extended by that $80 million, and there's a lot of questions about what it's covering and why it's not expanding hours. But what folks should know is that we're using a lot more things like audiobooks and ebooks, and those prices are out of control right now. And so I hope we'll consider supporting our libraries. I was just talking to somebody today who was like, that's our last copy machine in Lake City. So I encourage folks to look at everything. I don't have anything written for it, but I hope you'll consider supporting our levies and endorsing it at our next meeting.
All right. Thank you, Nilu. Appreciate it. Okay, so that concludes the campaigns and candidates for this evening. Up next on our agenda, we have election of executive board members. I want to thank outgoing at-large member Kat Munson. We lost Kat to the 43rd. She moved, I think, one block into the 43rd, so we're certainly going to miss her. But that being said, it provides new opportunities for our members. So in this month's call to meeting email, we announced that we have one member at large for the executive board position to fill at tonight's meeting. The process for self-nominating was shared in the call to meeting, along with the deadline by which to submit nominations, which was Saturday, April 17th. And we're honored to receive 2 nominations for the open position from 2 of our members who both serve as PCOs, Lisa Stubing and Heather Heinickel. They both submitted bios, which were posted to the website, so hopefully everyone had a chance to read up on them. But if not, I'm going to invite both candidates to say a few words about themselves in case people did not get to hear from them. I apologize I'm putting you on the spot, but if you'd like to share a couple words, we'll go ahead and start with Lisa Stubing, who got her application into us first. Lisa, are you with us, and would you like to say a few words? I think we're going to limit it to 2 minutes, just like our candidates, but so.
Yes, hello, good evening. My name is Lisa Stubing, and I have been thinking a lot about the negativity of saying no. We've been shouting no on the street corners for over a year now. And I've been thinking about the positivity of saying yes. And, there are 3 member-at-large positions and 2 really highly qualified candidates. And as a former chair of the 43rd, I know how important it is to bring in the young energy, the vitality. And so when I'm suggesting, since you've got 2 people in 3 open positions, 1 that we vote for and 2 that are appointed, I'm suggesting that we vote Heather in. I think it's important that that she be brought in and receive that. And then I'm asking the rest of you, if you feel that I'm also qualified, that you be in touch with the e-board and suggest that I would be a good candidate to be considered for appointment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Up next, Heather, are you with us tonight? I believe I saw you. Oh, you're right.
Hi, can you hear me? Well, I want to say thank you to Lisa for that surprise endorsement. um, uh, I'm Heather Doyle Heinekel. I would be proud to serve as a member at large for the 46th District Democrats Executive Board. I'm, like Lisa, a current PCO for District 1404 in Licton Springs. And like Lisa, I chose to say yes. I self-nominated for this position in the spirit of service. Those of you who have worked with me in the 46 know I'm always happy to pitch in wherever I can be useful. So whether that's, knocking on doors in multiple precincts or assisting with events or just helping with communications and outreach, that's something I will continue to do if I am selected to be on the executive board. I feel like my job is to be here for all of our membership and all of our neighbors. So, my email address is pcoheinekel@gmail.com. If you have something to say that you would like to be amplified, I'm always happy to do that. And yeah, I hope to be able to continue to serve our community. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Heather, and really appreciate both you and Lisa stepping up to volunteer on behalf of our organization. Always greatly appreciated. I want to double check with our rules folks, Tara and Margaret. We do. So Lisa's correct. There are actually 2 open positions. There are 2 appointments that the executive board makes, and then I believe the membership then affirms. Previously, there were chair appointments. They now belong to the executive board. Is that correct? And are there any stipulations with that? It's been a little while since I've looked at that. I just want to make sure that everybody knows our rules before we go to a vote.
The executive board appoints, subject to confirmation by vote of the membership.
Okay. All right. That was my recollection. I think typically, like, it's been rare for the executive board to make appointments. Even Nathan Antonio, who was doing some work, I don't think we made it to an appointment with Nathan. He was volunteering as our effective meetings committee chair for a little while before he was then elected. But in past discussions, if I recall correctly, oftentimes the executive board tries to bring in unique perspectives with those and skill sets. So that's why they're sitting vacant, is we haven't had those just yet. So just want to throw that out there before we go to a vote so everybody understands. And I think we're ready to go to a vote. If we could get a ballot thrown in there. Nathan Antonio?
Yes, point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Could you explain what we are voting for and how many individuals may be elected in this vote?
Oh, yes. Only one person may be elected in this vote. There is only one vacancy that is elected by the membership right now. The other 2 vacancies are e-board appointments that then require affirmation by the membership. So the executive board would, someone on the executive board would make a recommendation for someone, the executive board would then vote, and if that vote passes, then we bring it to the membership to then affirm the decision of the executive board to make an appointment. Is that clear as mud?
It was clear enough for me. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else, if you have questions, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and go to a vote. So the ballot, the link to the ballot is in the chat. Please click on that link. You will need your voting code. This is the first vote of the evening, so we'll give people a little bit of time. All right, I'm just gonna check. Is there anybody that needs some more time to vote?
Mr. Chair, I just texted support. It is rejecting the voting code that I copied from the email I got.
Okay,
Oh, maybe that's last month. Let me check.
all right. Anyone else, please go ahead and raise your hand if you need some more time, and Kathy will give you some time, but I just want to check in with other folks. Does anyone need more time? I'm not seeing any hands. Kathy, I do want to just check in because I know that you said that you.
No, even when I type it now, and it is for this month.
Okay.
So I guess we can ask, well, if my vote makes a big difference, would someone communicate with me directly?
The vote delta is big enough that any one vote would not make a
Okay.
difference.
Okay,
Okay.
I can live with that.
All right. I do have a hand up from Judy Bench. Judy?
I never got a voting code.
Oh, okay.
Just want to let you know, I'm sure that there'll be a good decision tonight, but I hope it doesn't happen at the next meeting.
No, I hope not as well. Can we can Tally Team look in to see which email it was sent to for Judy? I will say that I sometimes get them sent to Nation Builder. Does a few strange things. There's 3 emails that I have in Nation Builder, and I've tried to delete them, and sometimes I get the voting code sent to a different email address and I have to look around, or it gets flagged for spam. Not to say that's what happened. I'd still like
No, I
our Tally team
looked
to
in
check with you.
spam. I went back and did a search. Just didn't happen
Right.
this time. So I'm just, checking in.
Okay. Thank you, Judy. I would like your vote to count. They did say there was a big enough delta. If you would like to send a message to, I think, Rob, are you doing our tally tonight?
Yes, I'm doing the tally, but I am not taking care of issues with voting codes.
Okay.
I sent Judy her voting code and the email that it was sent to.
Okay. All right. Judy, if you can go ahead and check the chat, you should see that. It should, you might have to click on an icon up above. I don't recall how it shows up when you get a chat from support individually, if it automatically shows in your feed or if you have to click. There's new buttons at the top that are fancy. So. It's good we get this meeting to practice, so that way at our May endorsement meeting, things can run a little more smoothly, hopefully. All right, we'll give Judy just a few minutes to get her ballot in. That being said, let's see what we've got up next on our agenda. See if we can fill a little bit of space. All right. Oh, I'm missing. Up next, we have another vote, so it's good to get this straightened out. Do you need any more time, Judy or Kathy?
No, I've kind of given up.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, that's okay. I accept. Every vote counts, but sometimes it's not absolutely essential and worth slowing everything down.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. I apologize. It sounds like it would not make a difference, but I just wanted to, provide some additional time. Can we make sure that Kathy Sakahara gets her updated email and voting code as well, just in case, support before we vote on the budget next?
I have provided it to her.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I can post the results if you're ready.
All right. Yep. Let's go ahead and get them. All right. So it looks like Heather Heinickel, you are the newest member of our executive board. Thank you so much and congratulations. And thank you, Lisa Stubing. Really appreciate you running and your willingness to step up as well. All right. Up next, we have our finance report. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull that up as I get lost in a sea of windows. Let's see. Unfortunately, Lisa Levy was not able to join us this evening, and I lost my link to our updated finance report. So bear with me while I apologize. I hope to be better prepared next time. Try to navigate to our Google Drive and pull that up. And my computer's running very slow. If anyone is able to beat me to it, I would welcome it because it seems like the shared drives are not loading for me.
Just to confirm, Mr. Chair, you wanted the proposed budget posted?
I was going to do the finance report,
finance
but
report.
Yeah, just with where we're at.
I may be misunderstanding. There is not a finance report document that I'm aware of.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
We did share the finance report last month.
Yes, we did. We
I mean,
share it every
I'll go
month.
ahead
It's a
and look at the
spreadsheet.
folders.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go ahead and look in the folders.
Chair Brown, I believe I put it in the Slack.
Oh, in the Slack. Thank you. Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you.
So admittedly, it might be outdated. I'm sorry. It was the only one I could find.
I'll go ahead and share my screen really quickly. All right. Okay. So here we are. Here's where we're at. Thank you for that, Vice Chair Rivera. So you can see that we had about $2,000 added between February and March, where we ended the year. So we currently have $7,632 in our checking. We had $684 in expenses last month. Total contributions was $2,570. And our coal fund currently sits at $25,730. Any questions on that? All right, we're going to go right to our budget proposal. So this was sent out in the call to meeting. It highlights how we did in fiscal year 2025, 2026. Bethany, you have a hand up.
Yes, I'm here. What I think is a point of order, but there is the final report from the Financial Review Committee from last month, or from looking at last year, that is available if people are interested in it.
Oh, okay. We can definitely share that. We'll hit that right after we have that after our budget passage vote. I didn't realize that it was ready. That's great to know. So we'll have to also send that. We can send that out in email as well. Thank you, Bethany. I'll call on you right after this. Does that work?
Sounds good.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So right now in the bank, as I stated, we have $7,530. Lisa sent out this nice little comparison of our budget. The proposed budget is essentially the same, except she raised the elections category back up to $12,000 as it had been in the past. And so what we see are $12,000 for elections. So that would be like our get out the vote. So we use that for printing lit and doing get out the vote events of sorts. So we have $6,000 in infrastructure, $3,000 for compliance, $750 for real rent, $3,000 for professional services. As I said, $12,000 in elections, $5,000 for events and fundraising. State committee is $1,100. Outreach is $1,000. Mutual aid is $1,500, and speakers and training is $1,000. Does anybody have any questions about the proposed budget? That was just her summary report, and this is the actual budget here. I think I heard did someone raise their hand? Brandon, you have a hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for, I like seeing the election budget come back up. So I just wanted to add that small tidbit that I'm happy to see that number come back up.
Yeah. And even though we were budgeted for $9,000 last year, we only spent $6,919 last year. We wanted to ensure after the general election that we had enough money in the bank to ensure that our organization would continue to exist past February. So that's what we put in there for November spending. We get a lot of our funding comes from membership, or the majority of it comes from membership. And so knowing that renewals don't start until after January 31st, we wanted to make it through the end of February. So that's how we made that decision on printing our lit last year. Are there any questions before we go to a vote on the budget? Any questions? Any questions? All right, are there any objections to us adopting this budget? Any objections? Any objections? All right, hearing none, I will call that this budget has been adopted. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we have a financial review committee report. I thought we were just going to say that you guys were still working and toiling away, but it sounds like you have completed your work. So Bethany, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So if you have anything to share, you may do so.
Sure. Let me see if I can share my screen. Share. Oh. Let's see.
We might need to make Bethany a co-host. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Fun with technology. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen now. Share. Allow. All right. Okay. So, this is our report, which you can find in the Google Drive for the 46th LD. Essentially, we reviewed all of there are like 3 types of transactions that we track, or 3 ways that we can track what we do. And by we, I mean Lisa Levy, our incredible treasurer, who is very organized. And made this process super easy. So we compared all of those for the last year to make sure that there weren't any obvious discrepancies and that no one was committing fraud. And we can safely say there are no major discrepancies and no one is committing fraud. Everything looks fine. There were a couple of technical things that would, how the reports line up, that we think if we can get the reports in different formats, it will make it easier for next year's review committee, just in terms of how our bank statements are delivered, and how some of the online portals that we use deliver their reports. So I don't know if it's possible to do that, but that's our recommendations. The other things that we recommended was having some like SOPs for how people could do this in the future would be helpful, since this committee is pretty new, I get the impression of. But yeah, our finances look good. Everything is above board. That's the report.
All right. Are there any questions for Bethany or the rest of the Financial Review Committee? Any questions? Edmund Freeman.
Question of the budget that I was just it took me a couple seconds to formulate my question on there. If I remember in the budget, which is part of finances, the expenses were about $15,000 under the budgeted expenses, and we've got $7,000 in the bank right now. So was there a problem with revenue coming in? Did revenue make our budget?
So what we've done is we set our aspirational, this is what we would spend if we get $34,350. This is how we could allocate it. We always make sure that we have an operational reserve of no less than 3 to 4 months whenever we do stuff. And so a lot of this is aspirational. Occasionally we'll get large donations from people. Right now, our budget exists off of our membership dues. I've been searching for someone who would like to do our fundraising chair position. So I'm hopeful that, maybe if someone wants to lead that effort, we can do a fundraiser before our Get Out the Vote effort this fall. We'd have to do that in September timeframe. So we have the budget set to where if we were able to do something like that, we have the flexibility to not go back and ask the members to vote to raise a cap. But we do not currently have plans that we can foresee allowing us to bring in the full $34,350. So it allows us some flexibility. Thus far, every single year, we have brought in more than we've spent, but it's a very marginal amount and small amount. So rest assured, we're not going to spend the cap because we don't have the money to do that. Does that answer your question?
Kind of a related question. How much do you think we're going to be bringing in next year? Like a base plan of bringing in next year?
A lot. I have not done that projection yet. So I can ask our treasurer if she can look at some trends. It changes year to year. We do have some contested races. we have a contested race with an incumbent. We have a couple of open seats. Those tend to generate more membership because oftentimes candidates will recruit members for the endorsement process.
Okay.
So we'll see most of our money come in the next month or so, and then we'll see some come in before the primary if one of our endorsed candidates doesn't look like they'll get through the primary.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, those are good questions, and I offer it up if anybody would like to do some fundraising for the 46. Would absolutely love it. So please let me know. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Anybody else have questions for Bethany? Anyone else? All right. Not seeing any others. Thank you so much, Bethany and Doug and Lisa Levy, and I apologize. I'm blanking. We've
Kathy.
And Kathy Sakahara. Apologies. Thank you so much, you three. Kathy Sakahara is doing a lot these days. Thank you, Kathy. As she'll fill you in on a little bit later. Really appreciate your work there. And up next, we have proposed changes to the 46 Dems endorsement rules. So like clockwork, our Rules and Bylaws Committee has been working hard to make sure our rules are reviewed and thoughtfully updated. Last month, they looked at our standing endorsement rules and brought forward some wording clarifications that need to be approved by you. Again, the changes are pretty minor, but they were still sent out earlier actually earlier today again, but they were also part of the agenda and went out with the agenda and called a meeting. But in case you didn't get a chance to look over them before the meeting, we're going to go ahead and take you through them pretty briefly. They are not substantial changes, just provide clarification. Margaret and Tara, you have the floor, and thank you for your work on this.
Great, thanks, Hunter. So this is Margaret Schild. I'm co-chair of Bylaws and Rules, and Tara Gallagher is my other co-chair. And yeah, this is just an update to the process that we told you a bit about in March, and we'll now vote tonight on these changes. Basically, the e-board and the Bylaws and Rules Committee looked at these rules. We asked for comments from the members. We didn't get any suggested changes from our membership. We met in late March, and the changes in the document that Kathy just shared in the Zoom chat are what we came up with that, they're really clarifications. And as you know, having the rules be very clear and precise is important in case you ever get into a dispute about how they're being interpreted. So the Bylaws and Rules Committee recommends to the membership that you support and pass these changes tonight. And Hunter, would you like to ask whether folks want to delve into them more deeply?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions about the rules changes, or does anybody need us to go through them really quickly on the screen? If so, please feel free to raise your hand. Did everybody get a chance? Hopefully everybody got a chance to review them ahead of time. Are there any questions, or does anybody wish to pull a rules change before we go to adopt the amendments to the current endorsement rules? Any questions or anybody wish to pull? I'll ask one more time. Any questions, discussion, or does anybody wish to pull any of the changes? All right, are there any objections to adopting the changes to the endorsement rules suggested by the Rules and Bylaws Committee? Any objections? Any objections? All right, seeing none, we've adopted those changes. Thank you for your work, Margaret and Tara. Really appreciate you, and appreciate that everybody who was concerned read those ahead of time so we could go ahead and get through that section quickly. All right. Up next, we have committee updates. PCO committee, Doug Mormon. Doug.
Are you with me?
I'm with you. We're with you.
So the PCO committee's got about half a dozen, 8 people on it. In the last couple of months, those 8 folks have worked together to touch base with the 150 current PCOs and about 400 past and current members of our group to encourage folks to think about becoming a PCO. All of the PCOs that are currently exist, their term comes to an end in November, including the 2 people that we appointed this evening. Those folks' terms comes to an end. If you're interested in people who are interested in the new term, that they will need to file through with the state between May 4th and May 8th, in a couple of weeks. We'll be sending out information to folks the state will be sending out information through the state party and through us on how to go about doing that. So there's been really lots of discussion, lots of folks interested, and we're hoping that we'll get more than 150 PCOs. We have 220 precincts, of which 150 currently have a PCO. We're hoping that we'll have more in the future. We'd also like to ask, so anybody listening this evening can, if you haven't already thought about it, do consider filing for a PCO within your precinct. The next phase of the PCO Get Out the Vote committee will be starting to think about the primary. We will be next month having the endorsements, and after the endorsements occur, the process for printing the canvassing materials, working with folks to do calling, working with folks to do the other things that we current PCOs and volunteers do to encourage voting within their precinct will be underway. Are there questions at all? If not, I'll thank you all for your interest. We've touched base with a ton of folks, and we're hoping that people will actually file.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Yep. Looking forward to filing week, which begins May 4th and ends on the 8th. So may the 4th be with us, and hopefully we'll get a lot of PCOs again. We have been a leader in PCOs in the state, and so hopefully we can continue that trend. Really appreciate the work of the PCO committee. Thank you so much, Doug. Up next, elections committee. Unfortunately, Cody had to leave, but Vice Chair Rivera will be giving a report for the elections committee.
Yes, thank you. Definitely. Elections Committee Chair Cody Zalewski has been hard at work connecting with candidates, not only to let them speakers for tonight's and previous meetings, but also fielding endorsement inquiries and letting candidates know about the upcoming events will be happening for them and for our members. As announced in an email that went out on April 18th, we will be having our endorsement meeting on Monday, May 18th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. I know it's a change for us. We usually meet on Tuesdays, but this meeting is going to be on Monday because our board discussed it, and it was decided that it's important to us that our endorsed candidates are able to put our endorsement in their King County voters pamphlet submissions, which the deadline for which is Tuesday, May 19th at 5 p.m., just before our meeting. So they would not be able to put our endorsement in their submission. We want them to be able to do that. So we're doing it the day before on the Monday. Again, the email went out last week. Everyone should have gotten it. If you didn't, the date's also on our Google Calendar. You can find it on our website. In that email, we also did mention that, we just kind of give a little preview at the very end of that email, that we will be having a candidate meet and greet and combo forum happening the night before our endorsement meeting on Sunday, May 17th in person and we'll be having that at the Elliott Bay Brewery in Lake City. So we're familiar with that space. We've had many events there, and it's a great space, all ages. It has elevator access for those who need that, and we'll be having some small bites. Again, Cody has invited all candidates for all offices that we'll be voting on to the meet and greet portion. So hopefully we'll get a lot of our judicial candidates there, along with House, county, local races. But then we'll be following that after about an hour and a half of mingling and speaking with candidates, just on your own. We'll be transitioning to a forum. I believe the forum is going to be just for select races, though. I want to verify that with Cody, but I believe it's going to be specifically for the D5 races. I believe I'm trying to remember D5 the House Position 1 race, and possibly the King County auditor, because everybody's curious what that person does, and we'll be ready to hear from them and find out what the plans are for that office and why it's important to us. And all this is done so that we can inform our vote for the very next night when we have our endorsement meeting. So look out for more information on that meet and greet and forum. That'll be coming out soon in your email, but please pencil that into your calendar. It's likely going to start sometime around 1 or 2 and end around 4 or 5. I don't have the exact time yet, so I'll let Cody finalize that for us and then let you know via email. Again, though, form a meet and greet on Sunday, May 17th, and then endorsement committee meeting on Zoom, Monday, May 18th. I think I said that right. Sorry, I got those dates mixed up. You know what I mean. So again, please put it in your calendar, and we look forward to it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Up next, Coal Committee updates from our Coal Committee co-chairs, Margaret Shield and Brandon Monson.
Okay, well, hi, it's Margaret again, and yeah, I'm co-chairing this committee with Brandon Munson, and all the members of the Coal Fund Committee are listed on this slide. I want to give thanks to all of them, Hunter, Melissa, and both Lisas, for their work on this. So what we want to do tonight is explain the draft application materials that were distributed with the call to meeting and in another email today, and welcome your feedback. We also are queuing this up to get all of our members thinking about the great proposals that they could put in for Coal Fund grants. So first, a little bit about the Raymond T. Coal Fund. So the 46th District Democrats are really fortunate to have this special fund that was contributed by Ray Cole in a bequest from his estate. So Ray was a longtime PCO, an active Democrat. He was an advocate for ethics and democracy. He was the treasurer of the 46th District Democrats for about a decade. I know many of you knew him. For me, he was a neighbor a couple blocks away when I first moved into the 46th. And when he couldn't be a PCO anymore, he passed the torch to me, and it's the reason I'm a PCO. So thank you to Ray for leaving this to us. When he passed, he left part of his estate with the requirements that the funds be used to build and enhance the 46th District Democrats. He wanted to support special or extra projects, so things that are not normally covered in our annual budget. The Coal Fund, unfortunately, has not been properly used for many years, and that's why many of you may be saying, I've never heard about this. But the current Coal Fund Committee has been working to restart the application process this year. So last year, you may remember that we revised our standing rules for the use of this fund and the purpose of the Coal Committee. And then the committee has developed what we hope is a straightforward application form, as well as a guidance document to help guide you into creating a great proposal. And next, Brandon will describe those draft materials.
All right, thanks, Margaret. Yeah, this was a team effort for sure. I'm not going to, well, I can share my screen or no?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share the document. Do you want to do that right now or describe the review process, or up to you?
Yeah, let's share the document so we can just kind of like talk through it.
So here's the application form.
Awesome. Yeah, so when we send this out, folks will get this form once we finalize it. And we really tried hard to make this very easy to understand. And we wanted to make sure there weren't a lot of barriers. A lot of grant processes are really difficult and burdensome. And we really wanted this to be an open process that anyone could participate in. So it's very straightforward. Um, Margaret gave a great overview of the coal fund and why it exists and what it's for. And in here, basically we need all of this information listed in order to process the grant request. So you'll need the name, you'll have a team of folks. You need at least one active member in good standing on the 46th District Democrats. Although not everyone has to be enrolled in the 46th District Democrats to be part of the project. It's helpful to have other organizations maybe collaborating with you on the project. Then we'll want a description, the who, why, what, and how of the project, so we understand what we're funding. And then we'll go down to the goals, the timeline. Again, this is all pretty straightforward stuff that you could expect in any grant application. And then just as a heads up for the initial 2026 project application cycle, the total of all of the grant proposals may not exceed $5,000. Do with that information what you will. But if we were to fund 5 of them, they would have to be $1,000 each. If we were to fund 1, it would be $5,000 total. So do with that information what you will. And then we will be requesting some supporting materials, just a little bit about each team member so we know who the people are on your team. We want to make sure that they're aligned with the 46th District and our values, and then a project budget, because budget is how we actually get things done and how we stay on budget. So that is that main document, the application, and Margaret will dive into the guidance document.
Yeah, so hopefully the application is pretty simple, but there's this critical line on the top of it. Please review the application guidance. So the application guidance is just 3 pages, and I think we have that link for chat too. Kathy, if you can find it for the application guidance. And what this does is gives a little more background about what types of projects are going to be eligible for the funding and what aren't. And we've tried to make this clear, but this is where we're also seeking feedback from you on these forms. If there are questions that you immediately have, let us know. We can try and modify these before we open up the application cycle. And then we do also have a note here that if you still have a question while you're working on your application, you can email to our committee and we'll try to help you. So some of what's written in this guidance is really reiterating what's in our standing rules, just making it easier for you to find. So obviously projects and proposals need to be consistent with the vision and mission of the Democrats. We're here to elect Democrats to build a strong organization, to promote democracy, all those good values. So something consistent with that. And then the coal funds are really to increase skills of our leadership or members, and or enhance our reputation, and or increase our membership and volunteers, and or build partnerships or alliances, and or support capital projects. So proposals that cover more than one of those things are welcomed, but we're looking for these kind of things that really beef up our organization, give us some qualities that we don't currently have. We gave some examples here. For example, improving diversity, equity, inclusion in our membership, building our capacity building, events that really help us grow, activities that increase the visibility of us and promote our democratic ideals, fundraising projects that supplement our organization's normal fundraising. So that one, we have some standard events each year where we raise some funds. One example is our summer picnic, and we get sponsorships for that and stuff when we ask for donations. We're looking for fundraising projects that are something new and different. And we want to make it clear that if you're proposing a fundraising project, that those funds are either going to go to pay back the coal fund, which was used as seed money, or to reimburse your expenses, or to fund the operating budget. So we're not talking about money makers for anyone outside the organization. This is really to fund our organization. Capital projects. So we're probably not going to be buying any buildings with $5,000. So by capital, what we're also meaning is maybe equipment or some other durable purchase that would help us with our outreach or our operations. Then there's a long list here that I'm not going to read through of the things the coal fund cannot be used for. And those are things that are normally in our budget that we just looked at. So if it's something that's really a normal thing that we should be funding through our membership dues and through regular fundraising, that's not for the coal fund. That's for our regular volunteer work. We realize there may be some gray areas there, and that's why you can always ask us, and the committee will be conferring about this. So then there's a bit in the guidance about how we're going to review any proposals we get. And this is designed to help you know what we're looking for. So Brandon already mentioned some of these. There needs to be at least one active member. We do like the idea of teams, but that's not required. We're going to want to see a well thought out application. And then we're going to be looking at how the project builds and strengthens the district in different ways. If you can demonstrate some support for your project from more than one member of the district, that's a great idea. And then while it's not required, if you're proposing a project where you expect that the coal funds could be recovered and replaced in the event of your project, say it's a fundraising thing and you just need some coal funds to get it off the ground, but then you might pay it back. Well, we're going to give some extra weight to that because part of our mission is to have a sustainable coal fund. Anything about how the project addresses an unmet need. And then we're definitely going to be looking at feasibility, right? Of whether we think that you've got a good plan, have you got the team you need? You know, our goal is to support great projects. So we may be able to work with you to help you do those things, but we want to see that you've thought it through and tried to get help for your project. All right, there's a little bit about who the coal committee is, and then just some comments about how we plan to fund these things. And like I mentioned, we really want projects to be successful. So we talked about this and thought that it would be a good idea if one or more members of the coal committee kind of work with the project teams that we fund. Make sure you're staying on track, see if we can help. And putting in a final report at the end. So, and Brandon mentioned the part about this year, we're looking at total funding that we'd want to allocate if we get good proposals is up to $5,000. You may have noticed on the budget sheet, there's about $25,000 plus in the coal fund. But we are wanting to make sure that that fund doesn't get all spent down. So we're being judicious and starting with 5,000 this year. Hope to have more application cycles next year in the future. And let me note that we did get one comment already on the document from the review. So Karen Frey or Fry, I'm not sure if you're here tonight. Don't think they are, but so the comment they made was, please indicate clearly whether the funds can be used for paying a stipend. So that may relate to a discussion that our committee had. You know, we are a volunteer organization, right? There's all sorts of people that put in, I mean, I heard tonight that Doug Mormon has put in 1 million hours on the PCO committee, and I don't doubt that it's true. So, you know, we're a volunteer organization. So we're anticipating that people are putting in projects where they're going to volunteer time, but they need the funds to make the project happen. However, you know, we recognize that there are some projects where there may need to be some payments to individuals for services. I'm not quite sure what Karen had in mind for a stipend, but what the coal committee decided after talking about this is we would leave it up to the application process to see what comes in. But please know that we're looking for things that are primarily volunteer efforts, but that need some support. But if you feel we need to clarify that more, that's the kind of feedback we're looking for. So let me jump back to this slide for Brandon to explain how we'd like you to give us feedback before we open this up and look for your proposals.
You want me to go on that one?
Yeah.
I got it. All right. Yeah. So please provide your input. It's super important. Send us comments or questions on the final drafts for application forms and the guidance form. Just email those to us. We'll review them. We'll adjust the application materials accordingly. After the review, we'll accept and review applications. And I do want to say one last thing that if you have a great idea and you think it might work, but you're not sure, just email us and we'll help you through the process. Again, we want this to be like such a low barrier thing because we really want to see some applications come in and we want to see some funds go out and some ideas come to fruition. So we're looking forward to seeing some of those applications.
Great. And just one note at the end. So in our rules about use of these funds is you will hear about this again, is that proposals will come into the Coal Fund Committee, we'll review and discuss them, and then we're going to make recommendations back to you, the members, and it will be a final approval vote of the members whether we actually allocate those funds. So yeah, we'll open it up for questions now. Are there any questions about how to give us comments or any questions about the documents themselves?
All right, I'm not seeing any. I want to thank you, Margaret and Brandon, for all of your hard work on this. Really appreciate it. Oh, I do see a hand up from Doug Mormon, and just want to remind people they're looking for feedback through May 4th. So links to those items are in the chat, so please take a look at those. Doug, go ahead.
You answered my question. What was the date by which things should happen? Nice work. Thanks.
Right.
No problem. And yeah, once again, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate your work on that. All right. We're going to go back really quickly to Elections Committee. Lisa Rivera had a quick clarification to make.
Yes, thank you so much. Just wanted to clarify real fast about the candidates for the forum and repeat those important dates. So again, we're hoping for the forum to be doing races for the Seattle City Council District 5 race. Those candidates who will be invited to that are Neil Jenks, Silas James, and Julie Kang. Hoping they can join us. Also, we will hope to have our candidates for the House of Representatives Position 1 race, which would be Representative Jerry Paulette, candidates Ron Davis, and William Dreher. And lastly, the other race that I got incorrect is King County Assessor, not Auditor. We hope to have our King County Assessors race candidates there with us. That would be candidates Chris Roberts and Rob Foxcaran. So again, please mark your calendars. First for our meet and greet and forum on Sunday, May 17th at Elliott Bay Brewing. And then the next day, our 46 Dems endorsement meeting on Monday, May 18th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You can find the registration link for that in the for the endorsement meeting in that April 18th email or on our online calendar. If you have any questions about any of this, please send those to Cody. You can reach him at elections@46dems.org. The word elections at 46dems.org. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Up next, we have Membership Committee. Kathy Sakahara.
Thank you so much, Hunter. So I wanted to go right after Margaret, but I know Lisa had to jump in there. And I'll tell you why. Well, the first thing I am obligated to mention, even though it's been mentioned once or twice, but this is a really big deal. If you know anyone, if you are not a member right now, or you know anyone who's not a member and they care about who we endorse, next month, please, please, please have them join us, and they have to join by midnight Pacific Daylight Time on the end of the day of 4/27. And I will post here the link to the membership page. And I have to say, for me personally, I've been feeling like, wow, I'm doing such a good job. We have so many members joining. I realize it's not me. It is the fact that our endorsement carries a lot of weight. You can tell by all the candidates that were here tonight, they really want that. So if you care about who gets that, please make sure that you have joined by 4/27. The other thing I want to share is that we've been working on a survey, and we will be sending it all out to all current members. And then in the future, when someone joins, they will get it as soon as they join. And I know sometimes people think surveys are not a lot of fun. We really need to know what's in the hearts and minds of our members. One, I want to know why you joined, because I think that can help us with additional outreach. And but also want to know what you're interested in. And I use the word I should use the word we, because officially the membership committee has 2 members, myself and Doug Mormon. Nathan Antonio is kind of a conscripted member, I think. Maybe I've just simply recruited him and said, I really need you here, but he's been helping us out so much. The e-board is sick of me saying this, but I'm not a big fan of committees. I would, however, like to invite all of you to join the membership team. And the difference is the membership team does not mean you have to attend a ton of meetings. If you want to attend meetings, we can do that. But what it means is it gives you an opportunity to make a contribution to the work, maybe through email, maybe through one-on-one conversations. I often use the analogy that in football, the field goal ticker is not on the field all the time, but they're a really critical part of the team. And I would like to invite all of you to do that. And one of the reasons I wanted to go right after Margaret is, even though I've been hearing about the Coal Committee, and as I'm learning more and more about this organization, I'm like, wait a minute, we can come up with a plan to recruit members, and that's community building, especially outreach to someone who doesn't look like the majority of us, which are middle-aged plus white folks, majority, not all of us, obviously. So I'm really interested in doing that. So I see Jessica, and I know she's Jessica Troopin's come up with some ideas of things we can do to diversify our membership. So one of the things that the team will be doing, I hope, is working out a good solid plan, and maybe even applying to a grant for the Coal Committee. So I'm going to now post, I thought I posted this. I'm going to now post my email, which is membership@46LD, and invite you to reach out to me anytime. Unlike a lot of people, I have a great luxury of, I have free time. I'm retired. I have a wonderful husband who takes care of the household stuff, so I get to do important things. You know, his job is supporting me saving the world. So I have time to chat with you, to hear your ideas, and I really look forward to doing that. And watch for that survey. If anyone has any questions now, if we have time, I'd be happy to take them.
All right, anybody have any questions for Kathy? Any questions? Any questions? All right, thank you so much, Kathy. Really appreciate all of your work. And that is a great segue for an update we have from Jessica Troopin, who really went the length for us in a short period of time. I know she had some support, but I'm going to go ahead and let her talk to that really quickly. Jessica, you have the floor.
Hi. Now I can't see anyone because I can't do this very well. So we had the opportunity to apply for a grant from the state Democratic Party for party building. And so I wrote it down because I'd forget everybody's name. So Mark, Nathan, Doug, Kathy, and Hunter all pitched into this. But we just received a grant to a small grant, but a grant to do some almost like a little pilot project to reach out to renters, because renters are often, so 56% of Seattle households are renter households, but we don't have a lot of information about how to reach out to them, how to encourage them to join as members, as PCOs, how to be involved. And so over the next few months, we're going to use that money to test some ideas for how to get into buildings, get into rental units, possibly find people to act as building captains. We have a whole bunch of different ideas. So that is our, that is the idea. We put the grant together very, very quickly. So, and I could not have done it without those other people. So I don't want to take all the credit. So I'm excited to do that. And if you have any questions or you want to be part of this, feel free to email Kathy. Or me, that's totally fine too. And that's
all right. Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica. Jessica really did the heavy lifting in a short period of time to get that grant out. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we get to see the that hard work pay off. We got right around, if not $1,000, if they rounded up, we were just short in our application of $1,000. And so you will also be seeing a survey because we need to get some baseline data about our membership to try to figure out, how many of our members are renters, and then we're going to do some outreach to renters and see if we can't increase the percentage of our membership that are renters from that outreach, and just, do some outreach and see if they're not members, why not, if there's any barriers, and see what we can do there. So thank you for leading that effort, Jessica. It was her idea to do that outreach as well. And thank you to Mark, Nathan, Kathy, and Doug. I think that was everybody, but yeah, some great news there. All right, that brings us to resolutions. We have a resolution calling on the City of Seattle Council to fund shelter and services and not sweeps. This was, let's see, it looks like the person that submitted it, their name is not on the bottom, and I forgot who that was. Shane, are you with us tonight still?
I believe it was Silas.
Or was it Aiden?
Shane, you're on mute. Shane, you're on mute. Shane is here and he's on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just waiting to be unmuted. It was Aiden.
John? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Aiden, and Shane is also
Phone's not getting
available to
sound.
talk. Okay, Shane, why don't we go to you first?
So this was submitted by Aiden. So I would like to turn this over to Aiden to do his introduction.
All right, Aiden, so you may introduce this. Please remember to talk about what it does and kind of the facts of it, and not necessarily for passage either way, which is kind of difficult.
This is a copy of a resolution that the 43rd passed last month. It is asking specifically the city council to vote to lift a proviso that they installed in December. One of the last things the outgoing city council president did was to pass a rider on the budget that the future mayor would not be able to use any of the funding that currently goes to the UCT, which is sweeps, and associated shelter referrals for anything other than those things. This is a group called the Services Not Sweeps Coalition that formed a couple of years ago to advocate for a ban on sweeps in extreme weather and other worthwhile reforms, has been trying to get the city council to change this in along with the mayor's shelter expansion. I have a friendly amendment for something that I wrote a further clause after the deadline to submit this. So I wanted to be transparent about the change before the body. But that is all. Oops. Roommates, I'm talking right now in a meeting. Sorry.
All right. What was the change that took place, Aiden?
Would you like me to read it or paste it into the document or email it to someone?
Yeah, let me why don't I so it has not gone in just yet, is that correct?
That's correct.
Give me just a sec. I will go ahead and share my screen so that way everybody can see it. And if you do it in suggesting mode, that would make it really easy so people can see the change.
Let's see if Google will cooperate.
Or if you want, if I'm on a computer, I don't know if that helps.
Well, I'm on a computer as well, but it's not. Oh, here we go. Google controls. Suggestion mode. Yes. So the proposed clause adds that such shelter needs to specifically include self-managed tent cities, such as the model used by Tent City 3 and 4, and safe parking lots where vehicle residents who want to keep their vehicle will be able to keep their vehicle instead of being forced to sign over the title to their vehicle or forced to damage their vehicle as a condition of participation in the safe lot, which is what the most recent safe lot branded projects in Seattle have been, in contrast to attempts a decade ago.
Okay. All right. So is there a second to Aiden's amendment? Because we already noticed that we were going to be considering this, so it's already on the table. The resolution as a whole. Is there a second to Aiden's amendment? Bethany, you have a hand up. Are you seconding?
I am seconding.
Okay. Is there any discussion on Aiden's amendment? Aiden, do you need to speak further to your amendment there?
Just to say that shelter needs to have a variety of models for the variety of people who need it. Some in terms of vehicles specifically, some people have vehicles that are in better condition, and some people have vehicles that are in disrepair. And of those that are in disrepair, some of those things are possible to fix, especially once they have a safe place to park it. The recent models have exhibited both an assumption that they're all leaky and moldy and irreparable, and that it's not possible to fix that rather than create a whole new tiny home that could go to somebody else. I would argue that there is also a bias by people who live in settled locations against people who live on wheels and move around that goes back a few centuries in various cultural contexts that is at play here. Yes. And as for the TC3 model versus the tiny homes that are mostly Lehigh model, some people are looking for something that is democratic and participatory. Some people are for various reasons would like more something that resembles like a nonprofit model where you are a client or a patient of people who are experts there to help you. Ideally, it has some of both, but different models work for different people. is what we've learned from our extensive experience.
All right, thank you, Aiden. Any other discussion on Aiden's amendment? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and go towards a vote on including the amendment, which is the purple text that I just highlighted on your screen. We're going to go do reaction voting. If you would like to incorporate this amendment, please indicate so with a green check mark for yes. If you do not wish to include this new language, indicate so with a red X. And again, this is just for the amendment to the resolution on the floor. It is not for the resolution at hand. We have 47 people in the room, 45 of which are voting members. We currently have 29 green check marks and 1 red X. So the amendment passes, and we can go on to, I'm going to go ahead and call it there and clear reactions. All right. So we can go ahead and accept that comment. There we go. And I'll go ahead and note that that was proposed by you, Aiden. Is there any discussion on, any further discussion on the resolution? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we can go ahead and go to a vote on the resolution itself. If you would like to pass this resolution, please indicate so with a green check mark. If you do not want to pass this resolution, please use a red X. And a thumbs up will not work. Oh, there we go. We got it. Okay. We got a green check mark and a thumbs up. I did not know Zoom could do that at the same time. Excellent. All right, so the yeses are increasing. It looks like they're going to hold at 34 yes, 1 no. And we have 45 voting members in the room, so the resolution passes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Aiden, for bringing that forward. All right, is there any new business? I'm going to go ahead and clear reactions. Is there any new business? Any new business? All right, not seeing any hands. New business is closed. We'll go ahead and go to announcements. Are there any announcements that anybody has? Or we could, Senator Valdez.
Thank you, Chair Hunter. I just want to announce, if you didn't get anything in the mail, the 46th delegation, myself, and Representatives Paulette and Farvar, will have our end of session town hall meeting taking place a week from today at North Seattle College in the auditorium from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you want to combine and ask us questions about the session of what passed, what didn't pass, or anything else, please come by.
All right, thank you, Senator Valdez. Kathy Sakahara.
Yes. Well, first of all, any candidates that are still here, if I missed putting your link in, I'm sorry. It got very complicated very quickly, especially people not on the agenda. But the other thing is I did get a notice. I didn't see it until after we had talked about the library levy. So I'm going to put a link in the chat about the library levy.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy. I think we did most of our announcements up front, the big one being the change in our May meeting, doing the endorsement on Monday, so all of our endorsed candidates can place our endorsement in the King County Voters Guide, as well as the candidate meet and greet and forum on Sunday, the 17th of May. Those were our big announcements. Is there any good of the order? I see a hand up from Guinevere Dinsmore. Guinevere.
Hello. Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to come out to City Hall on May 5th at 2 p.m. To pack the room to demand action against ICE, and to restrict surveillance and to roll back surveillance. I believe that this particular City Hall meeting was like not publicized. I think AMR let it slip in a conversation with someone, but yeah, it's important that we get as many people out there to demand City Hall and the mayor take action against ICE and against surveillance.
All right. Thank you, Guinevere. Up next, Kathy Benson. Kathy.
Yeah, I just wanted to put in one more plug for people to file to be a PCO and write a date on your calendar between May 4th and May 8th. This process is so exciting. We met such fascinating candidates tonight and at the last meeting. And then we'll all come together and decide who to endorse. And then it really makes a difference when people go out and at least drop off sample ballots and maybe knock on the doors. I don't know if you favored Katie Wilson or not, but she did win by just a handful of votes. And also by filing between May 4th and May 8th, that gives you the opportunity then to vote on some positions when we have our reorg meeting. Thank you so much to those of you who are stepping forward.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. Margaret.
Hey, everyone. And related to the resolution that we just passed, and thank you, Aiden, for bringing that forward. So I hope you're all aware that Mayor Katie Wilson has a shelter expansion initiative going on. You know, I've gotten much more active on this issue, and I want to encourage all of you across North Seattle and in D5 to really weigh in on this, because our current city council representative is not supportive of having more shelter or more low-income housing in D5. And I think that's been part of why we haven't gotten the services and the shelter that we need. And we have an opportunity now to make a difference on that. And it's happening right now before the city council. So already the city council has moved forward 2 of the 3 bills that Mayor Wilson put forward. But the third one is the more complicated one. It's about expanding the capacity of these shelters, allowing larger numbers of people to be served. And what we're talking about is not just shelter, but it's the wraparound services. So you know there's going to be pushback on this, right? Because we got to spend some money to solve this problem that we've been in for so long and help people rebuild and get back on their feet. So there is a land use committee discussion about this on April 29th, and then a land use committee vote on May 6th. If you want to get more involved and want more information, please email to me. And my email is pretty easy. It's my name, Margaret.Shield@comcast.net. And if any of you really want to dig in more and get involved with the Lake City Task Force on homelessness, please contact me about that too. I think we have a window of opportunity here, folks. Let's move on this. This is critical to all of us for the unhoused people that deserve not to be living on our streets, for our neighborhoods and communities that we don't want to have to be living in the midst of this, and then for our businesses. It's critical for all of us. We can solve this if we push back against all the naysayers, the NIMBYs, the people who just want to lock people up, which we know don't work. So thanks for the time, and please help out.
All right, thank you, Margaret. We have Pat Trussell.
Hello, just want to remind people that tomorrow is Earth Day, and there are a number of events coming up for Earth Day. I think both Nathan and Kathy have the links to those things. So I'm hoping they can post those. And coming up a little bit further along is May Day. May Day is a traditional labor action day, but there will be a more general action involving not shopping, possibly walking out of schools and businesses. And there will be a rally and possibly a march starting at noon in Cal Anderson Park. And again, there will be, I hope, links to that.
They've all been posted, Pat.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Kathy. Galaxy Marshall.
Trans Pride Seattle, am I going? Okay. Trans Pride Seattle is looking for volunteers. You can find more information on transprideseattle.org. The event is on June 26th. There are a lot of positions available. It's a fun time. I am very tired. My tone does not denote my enthusiasm level.
All right, thank you, Galaxy. We don't typically allow guests to speak. Toshiko, do you want to tell me what your good of the order is, oh God? I just want to make sure. I know you already spoke as a candidate last month, but I appreciate you hanging out this long. Let's see. Okay, you're unmuted.
Just going to give anti-ice at the airport update.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll keep it
Sure.
brief.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Well, definitely. I was here last month and I talked about some of the actions that we took to protect our communities against ICE. One of them included requiring POSPD to make some important changes to mitigate public panic when there's an allegation that an ICE agent is at the airport. And so just to keep it brief, today's big update is that I spoke earlier this week with our chief of police, and everything we required of POSPD has been implemented. So that includes changing their poorly named Homeland Security Division to the Counterterrorism Task Force, which is much improved, ensuring that their uniforms align with Port of Seattle branding, so no more creepy gray jumpsuits with black vests, and then also ensuring that their use of force information is fully and publicly reported by a date certain each year moving forward. The other thing is that you heard about the Trump administration competence.
So I just want to check in with folks. I did have someone message me that said that this might be campaigning. It is in a gray area. Like it's a good update to have, but I want to be cognizant of that.
I am a countywide elected official. But that's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had someone that messaged me that felt that it was campaign. It's a nice update to have. Is there a website that you can point them to where you have an update on this? Or
on the Port of Seattle's actions?
Sure. Okay. If you could chat that to Kathy Sakahara, I will have her send that update. Or repost it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Aiden, do you have good of the order for us?
So I said last month that ICE was getting license plate data through Axon and Flock. I was mistaken on that part. It's coming from the DOL directly through a third-party program called NLETS, and the Jackson School of International Studies at UW has an extensive report on this, that is not covered by SB 6002. The other update is that ICE has been using criminal allegations as cover recently. You might have seen reports that the St. Patrick's Day abduction in the U District wasn't actually ICE. It was ICE. They're using the same cars. They alleged sex trafficking, but that's only based on someone she had a phone connection with who was allegedly charged with a crime, not anything direct to her. And there was a similar thing that happened with the ICE abduction last week in the federal building immigration court, when they were wearing masks. So it's really gonna be important to see what is enforceable and how it is enforceable. Everyone is watching this stuff.
All right, thank you, Aiden. Steve Zemke. Steve.
Just want to encourage people to look at a couple of things. One is, if you're not aware of Blue Sky, look at that as an alternative social media to Facebook and X and others. And the second one is also be aware that every week, Thursday, 12 to 1, Indivisible National has a presentation that they give at answer questions from people, talk about what's going on nationally, a way to check in with some of the activism going on around the country. Those are my comments. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Steve. Nilu Jenks.
Sorry, I just wanted to add really quickly to what Aiden said, because I was in a meeting earlier today that as a result of ICE using the Department of Licensing, and people giving out their information in collaboration, some immigrants are not going for driver's licenses anymore. It's a really sad thing, and that people are talking about how to get around, but there are pretty significant ramifications to Department of Licensing doing these things. Anyway, I'll connect to Aiden separately, but it was a conversation meeting I had today that kind of sucked.
Thank you, Nilu. All right, is there any other good of the order? Any other good of the order? Steve. Oh, you gotta unmute one more time, Steve. All right.
I had nothing else. I was just checking off.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Any other good of the order? All right. Having called 3 times and seeing none, we have reached the end of our agenda. I would consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I think was that moved by Lisa Rivera, and I see a hand up from Heather Heinickel.
I think Lisa moved to adjourn, so I will second.
All right. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any objections to adjourning? Any objections? Any objections? Hearing none, we're hereby adjourned at 9:54 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you for coming out tonight. Thanks to all of our candidates that came out and spoke with us. Really appreciate you.
Excuse me, I know we're adjourned, but I just got a late minute post that someone wanted me to share, and I want to respect that. So I'm about to hit post on something. Please stick around long enough to read that last message.
All right.
And remember to save the chat.
Okay, thank you.